ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानंद रूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य माणिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु। अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। Supreme consciousness Bhagwan Krishna, in the verses starting from 55 onwards, answering the question of Arjun about the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the properties of a man of realization, Bhagwan has given a series of verses there, and through these verses, Bhagwan is saying that, in the last verses which we saw in the last two verses, last three verses actually, what we saw is Bhagavan is telling what is the kind of reaction this man of realization is going to have in his life, how this man of realization reacts to situations coming in the life of such a person. And situations will come even if he's a man of realization or if it's a normal man living a life also, because situations arise out of our own prarabdha, our own past karmas. So Bhagavan is saying कि, in the situations which arise in the life of such a man of realization, how his reaction is going to be to each of those situations is what Bhagavan expounded from verse 55 onwards. 56 and 57 was primarily around what are exactly the reactions to certain kind of things which Bhagavan enlisted there. Meaning what Bhagavan has expounded, the message for us is, if we as a seeker wants to carve out an intellect or a firm wisdom which is free from doubts and free from any kind of adversities or adverse kind of a things or opposite kind of a knowledge, if we want to carve out that, and if there is such a goal which we have kept in our life, then these values which Bhagavan has expounded in the verse 55, 56 and 57, we as seeker must adopt in our life these values. And also along with adapting these values in our life, we must make diligent effort to practice such things in our life. In the life of a seeker, where the kind of values which are worthy of being considered or worthy of being received is what Bhagavan has expounded in these verses. And through these verses, what Bhagavan started with, how a seeker should behave towards the external objects. Bahya vastuein means external objects, is that his span of desire should not be too much. Rather, a seeker who wants to make a diligent effort to work towards the goal of making his intellect firm in the topic of self or supreme consciousness, wants to make dridha prajna, how Bhagavan has explained till now. For that seeker, it is definitely important that the expanse or the span of desire for external objects should be within the control. You should not spend too much time in expanding it too much. Why? Because more the span of desired objects of us in the world, the less will be the kind of things which you'll be able to achieve in terms of the firmness of intellect. Intellect will, because mind is divided into so many desired objects, intellect will keep chasing the desired objects or try to manage situations through the getting those, earning or gaining those desired objects. Or will the intellect spend time in actually making the intellect firm in the topic of self? So we have to make a choice that which way we want to expand our intellect, which way we want our intellect to spend its maximum energy towards. The choice is ours. We have two options which we can choose in our life, and I told you through all these verses which we have discussed till now, at the end of the day, it is utmost important. A seeker must have a due diligence of making right choices in life. When then the question arises, we are trying our best to do the right choices in our life according to what we know. Is that enough? No. Our knowledge is currently not complete. It's not enough for us to even decide upon what are the right choices to make in life. For that is where scriptures help us, or Shastra. We must take refuge in scriptures, because scriptures are going to tell us how you, amongst the span of things which are available, how do you decide which one to go after, which one to choose, which one to give up. That decision making is also given us by the scriptures only. So Bhagavan says, the more expanse or the more vastness of desired objects one has in life, the less will be the effort towards making the intellect firm. Rather, the vastness or the span of desired objects are actually an obstructing factor in the process of making our intellect firm in the subject of self. Then Bhagwan said, even when the situations in our life arise as a condition, Bhagwan said, when sorrowful situations or sorrowful conditions come in our life, if our mind is constantly engaged in actually getting impacted by that, getting depressed by it, getting shaken up by that adverse situations when it comes in our life, if our internal equipment and especially intellect, so to say, is busy trying to manage the adverse situation which has come in our life, or it has got impacted by it, got shaken up by it, then as for a seeker, Bhagwan is giving an advice that we must come out of such kind of a state of ours, where we get impacted by these sorrowful conditions or adverse conditions which arrive in our life. We must make an effort to actually come over it, come over them, win over them. And in the process of that, the best way is if we can keep some courage with us. See, at these times, remember one thing: when the adverse situations come in our life, there is one very big factor which can work as a friend, which can and work as a facilitating factor for us to come out of that situation, or rather I would say solve that situation and come out of it winningly. And that big point is actually courage. In our scriptures, especially in Ramcharitmanas and Lanka Kand, and when Bhagwan and Rama fights with, he's about to fight with Ravan, and at that time Vibhishan asked this question: Bhagwan, you don't have a chariot, you don't have an elaborate, arrangement to fight with Ravan, who is a king of Lanka. You are, barefooted, and you do not have a big chariot and all. You're walking down the whole thing and going into the fight like that, and Ravan is coming in all these kind of mayavi kind of magical kind of a chariot and all, which are like very powerful and changes the form and shape and all. What is that thing which is there which is making you fight? So Bhagwan gives us certain conditions there, and he says, Vibhishan, actually he describes the chariot of a valorous person there, and there he says, Dheeraj Sauraj Tehi Rath Chaka. Courage, Dheeraj means we have two kind of things which is there. One is called offensive thought and one is called defensive thought. So we call it dhairya and shaurya. So dhairya is something which is called defensive thought. But defensive thought alone will not help us lead our life. We must have offensive thought also, how to solve it, how to move forward with it, have the courage to actually go ahead with it. Even in the adversity also, we must have the ability, that shaurya, that valor, to actually move ahead. So valor is actually called offensive thought and courage is actually called defensive thought. So here, the point which Bhagwan is saying is that when the adverse situations arrive in our life, one must keep courage first. Courage is one of the best helping tool in such kind of a situation. And the first thing we need to do is, rather than fighting it then and there, let some time go by, some time pass by. When some time passes by, trust me, the effect of that adverse situation on our mind and intellect, the shaken up, the shaking up thing which happens in the adversity, that the expanse or the what you call that, the actual the force of that adversity affecting us will actually slowly, gradually reduce down. That's the first thing why courage is very, very important. So, we'll see if we can and be courageous in the adverse situations, and if we can just maintain that in the first one and let some time. I'm not saying wait for long period of time, let it go by, I'll wait before I go. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if we can and just help us not become into reactive mode immediately, let some time pass by so that our intellect, that effect of that adversity on our inner equipment reduces a little bit. Because remember one thing, it is said everywhere, time is the biggest healer. It is said, we have to understand the gravity of that statement. I do not know how many of us understand. It is not said that time will heal everything. That's not what it is said. Of course, time heals, but time is definitely one of the healers. You will see the initial effect of an adverse situation. After some time, the effect will reduce. That's what, or we call it Kal Bhagwan, the god of time, the lord of time, helps us if we are able to keep courage when the adverse situation hits us. So we'll see that, next moment, the intensity of that adverse situation affecting us will go down or reduce a little bit. That's why we must take refuge, at the lotus feet of the Lord of Time, or Kal Bhagwan, in such situations. Once we are able to do that, we will see that, if one seeker is able to practice this thing, we will see that slowly, gradually, that seeker will be able to bear, or develop a bearing capacity for, or worse to worse situations. That seeker will be able to, develop a bearing capacity within himself. The more we practice, see, the thing is, everything comes out of practice. I'm just giving you a very small example. You will see now Olympics is going on, so you will see that, there are many athletes. It's running, and gymnastics, running, tennis, badminton, so many sports you see. But when you see the kind of precision they have to reach that level, whether it is the winners from India or winners from any other country, you see their game. You will from that game itself, you can see who reach the medal, kind of, even reaching the Olympics I'm talking about. Forget about reaching the medal is definitely the highest part of the people. Their kind of practice, I do not know how much they would have put into it. Comes out of constant practice. In life, actually, the all these kind of games which happen, Olympics and all, I'm just asking you a small thing. Each one of us are playing our own Olympics, actually, and every now and then, aren't we? Just look at our life. How many kind of situations, if you just look back at one person's life, a person may have lived 30, 35, 40 years, or whatever time span a person may have lived. Just look back, how many Olympics you have played already, how many Olympics you have played. Many of them you may have won medals also. Many of them you may not have reached that level also. But one thing has definitely happened, that every time a situation hits you, if you are at it and you have not given up to that, you have practiced something through it, trust me, you will see your ability in the past was far lower than your ability now. That is what practice gives you. So, if a seeker is able to be constantly at it and is able to practice these things, trust me, his ability to bear situations which are worse than worse also, we will see that I am able to bear much better than before. And this happens only when such values have been accepted by a seeker firmly in himself. Some people don't even accept the values. That's the thing. And this is where I was trying to see, what do you mean by, actually, I told you where the scriptures come in to help us. It's not that whatever I consider as good values I've adapted. We'll see that many people are living a life like that. They have their own definition of right and wrong. They have their own definition of good and bad. I'm not saying all of them are wrong or all of them are not correct, but I'm saying, if we make our own definitions, that will be according to our own intellectual capability, our own intellectual understanding. That may or may not be ultimately correct. But if we are able to refer to scriptures and take the values expounded in the scriptures to decide what is right and wrong, and try to adapt the right values, and try to monitor us, introspect us, that I hope I am not making or holding on to wrong values in life. That is what is a spiritual growth for a seeker. So what happens, we need to make the values very clear in life. That's the first step. Then we need to respect those good values in life, look up to them, and try to get, look up to them means what? try to make an effort to adapt or inculcate those values in our life. So, we'll see that when our intellect accepts something as value, that is when intellect will actually start, even accept the fact that, okay, it is a good value. I'm happy to, put effort. Unless and until you accept, how do you think your mind and intellect is going to work upon some value? First, you have to create an acceptance. So before that, you have to understand the right values first, then accept those values, and then judge yourself or introspect yourself which of those good values you have, and which of those values which are not good or bad ones to have are there residing inside you, which needs to be corrected. So the first thing happens with at the level of intellect, the level of inner equipment. At that time, when we start gaining these good values, what has been expounded in the scriptures, then only our intellect wants to, would even and look at the adverse situations, the shaken up feeling which happens, the udvignata which happens inside us it will not see with the thing that it's okay if I get disturbed, so what. This is the state of many of us today, that we try to praise the kind of wrong values also in us, and we try to give justification for that. That's wrong. That is where our scriptures are correcting us. If our mind gets disturbed and shaken up by the adverse situations coming in our life, and we try to justify it saying that, so what, it's normal to be like that, there are so many people doing that, but so many people doing that is not a justification for us to do, right? Till the time our intellect gives respect or accepts something, and gives respect to that thing or justifies something, remember one thing, till that time that value will not go away from you. You will not be able to remove that value from you. You will not be able to drop that value from you. You will not be able to progress in that value at all. You will not be able to give up that value if your mind, your intellect has actually accepted something, is also giving respect to. So what, it's there, it's like normal thing. Trust me, till that time, that value you will not be able to give up in your intellect. You will not be able to remove it from you. When our intellect actually gets into the mode of disdaining from them and does a tiraskar of that, at at that point in time, when it tries to give up that, it tries to disdain from it, that no, it is not right, that is when our intellect will understand or will start to reflect upon it, that again and again getting shaken up by the adversity is definitely not right for me. When this acceptance come in the intellect, that is when a person will make an effort to actually stop this is impact which comes from adverse situation, the impact which or the adverse situation leaves on the mind. That is when a person will actually make an effort to it. And trust me, I'm telling you, from the spiritual standpoint, I'm telling you, our scriptures are loud and clear about it, that once somebody makes an effort, trust me, that effort is definitely going to pay. So that effort is definitely going to give its result. I'll read the verse before I move on into this. The verse number 57. Yas sarvatranabhisnehah tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. Yas sarvatranabhisnehah tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. I'll read Bhagwan Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya also for this particular verse. Yo munihi sarvatra deha jivitadishu api anabhisneha abhisneha vajatah tat prapya shubha shubham tat tat shubham ashubham va labdhva na abhinandati na dveshti shubham prapya na tushyati na khrishyati ashubham cha prapya na dveshti ityarthah tasya evam harsha vishada varjitasya vivekaja prajna pratishtitha bhavati. So, many times it is seen in, many people, well, continuing from what I was saying before I read the verse, many times we see in the world that many people will try to glorify, those values which are not considered good by our scriptures. They try to glorify, justify by justifying it. One example which is very commonly heard in the world, and why should I go far? I'm telling you honestly, before coming into spirituality, I also used to say that, being very candid to say this, there is nothing hiding on that factor. There are people who say that, remember one thing, if I get upset, don't even near me, because when I'm upset, when I'm angry, I won't see anything in front of me and anything behind also. I'll just give you left, right, and center. And when I'm angry, stay away from me. Don't be around me, because once you are around me, I will not see anything. You will have it from me. This is a statement which many people give. If trying to glorify their nature of getting angry. I do not know what to say. I also, now when I look back, like how I used to say it. So, why I can bring out this example is that as myself used this many times, because at that times I never used to know what scriptures are talking about. Only after coming to Vedanta, I understood how big a fool I was. I was glorifying such things which are not considered good by scriptures. If I get angry very fast, what is such a thing to glorify about it? That's not right. Which means if we say this, that is what is so great about being not able to see anything in ahead and behind when you are angry. Is there something to glorify about it? Which means what? If I can't see what is ahead and I can't see what is behind me when I'm angry, that means I'm going to become blind. I become blind at that time, right? So what is such a great thing when I become blind? Is that a good thing to talk about? And when we talk such things, even when an adversities hit us and we get shaken up, we try to justify it, saying that, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. So what? The thing came and I became affected by it. It will be temporary. See, that's besides the point how much temporary or how much permanent it will be. But we try to justify it. And then the moment we justify it, trust me, the second thing which happens is we will try to justify it. How? We'll justify it saying that, I got angry because of this person's action. See what this person has done. I'm just giving you a small example, which is very live example. When you drive, because I also drive, so I can tell you that when you drive, on the road, you will come across all kinds of people. Okay. Many times we also, when we drive, if there are times when we are not very perfect all the time when we drive also. So, so is with other people also. When we drive, if, somebody crisscrosses us, or, somebody just, brushes us very nearby, or is about to hit us, but we saved the whole thing. So the first thing which will come is that, how stupid, what is he doing? How is he driving? I don't know who gives them license to actually drive. I don't know what government is doing. You see, all kind of things which come in our thing, because we got angry with something. The first thing when we justify our anger, we will see at behind this driving example also, first we have justified that my getting angry is correct. Okay, my getting disturbed is correct. It's a world full of people, and everybody is a different being. Everybody has got a different culture they are coming from. Everybody has got different habit. Everybody has got different kind of knowledge. Everybody is a different person, different personality. How can you expect that everybody will be like you? I'm not saying you are perfect, so saying that, but I'm just saying we expect everyone to be like us sometimes. And the thing is, when we try to blame others, trust me, behind it, another thing is we are making one step up for ourselves. We are praising us actually. By finding somebody else's fault, we are actually trying to make it show that we are better than the other person. See, actually, that is the intention behind it. Anyway, so my point is, the moment we try to justify our udvignata, or we getting affected by the adversity, the first thing is we'll try to, put the blame on somebody else, saying that I got angry because of somebody else. And when I'm justifying it, that means I'm justifying the fact that, becoming angry is all right. I've accepted that fact, right? That is why I'm trying to justify it. It is just like that, somebody is trying to actually glorify the fault. See, justifying an anger is like glorifying our fault. And remember one thing, that value, if it is bad also, that value which is in us, the moment we start to give respect to that value, we start to appreciate that value. Tell me something, why do you think that value will go away from you? Or why do you think you will put an effort? Or how do you think you will put an effort to actually move away from that value? Because you're already respecting it, you're giving respect to it, you are giving value to it. Your value means something which you value. Just think of for a moment, and inside your head, something which you value, will you ever try to give it up? Will you ever try to throw away something which you value? First, you have to understand its correct value, and understand that it's what value I have given is not right. So, first we have to understand those things which we are actually valuing, they are not actually worthy of our value. Right? That is the first thing we have to do. And just I'm talking about udve, the feeling of getting affected by the adversity. The same thing goes for spriha also. Spriha means what? Hankering over the pleasures, the attachment which I have, the deep attachment which I have. So, this spriha, or the deep attachment, or the hankering which I have for the things which give me happiness in life, is also not something to be given respect to. It's not a respectable thing at all. Just tell me something. Somebody is full of attachment, right? Somebody has got, innumerable or infinite desires. Somebody is very, very ambitious. He's got set too high ambition in life. Somebody is over ambitious, so to say. These things are not auspicious in any manner, so to say. That fact we have to understand. Our intellect needs to understand that in the world of seekers, at the level of seekers, amongst the seekers, these things which I just mentioned are not respectable at all. Rather, they are seen, they are looked down. They are some things which are a matter of laughing for the seekers. This man, you see, so many desires, he's getting stuck with them. He's so much full of attachments. He's so over ambitious. I don't know, probably so over ambitious that he will spend his whole life's energy on it, but don't know how many of them he'll be able to achieve it also. See, these things are not seen with respect in the, at the level of seekers, in the society of seekers. As amongst the seekers, they are not supposed to be. Even at the worldly level also, you see, somebody is full of attachment. It's not considered a respect worthy thing. We see somebody full of attachment. What do you say? Oh man, poor man. He doesn't understand that his attachments are only bringing him down. So, even at the worldly level also, having too many attachments is not something which is respectable. For a seeker, because of attachments, for a seeker, what happens? If a seeker has got many attachments, so to say, he's nourishing many attachments within him, trust me, those attachments are going to make him devoid of his actual goal in life, are going to be the hindrance factors for, or those factors which are going to create obstacles for him achieving in the actual goal in life. Those things which are actually destructive in life, if we see those things things with a, eye of, with a vision of respect, that thing we must break in us. That vision of respect which we give towards those things which are destructive, those values which are destructive in us, if you are respecting such things, if you are respecting, say, look those things with respect in us, trust me, that is something which we must start immediately to break away from. We must break those things in us. If some nobody is actually going to, who what do you call that, come to you and tell you, unless and until you come to scriptures or a guru who's going to tell you that these things are not correct at all. If someone and justifies, or or praises his or her rudeness, praises his or her attachment, praises something that he's biased or something, and even the adverse things which leave an impact on his mind, if somebody sees that with respect, that means those false values, those mistakes, those faults in us will never go from us at all. They're never going to leave us. If at all we see these things, what are the things which I told you? Rudeness, attachment, we being biased, our mind getting affected by the adversities every now and then, and our mind gets affected. It is up for only few hours or few days or something, again it is affected, because our mind is so weak that it gets affected with everything, every passing and going situations in our life. That is definitely not correct. Like, if we want to give up, we must actually first want to give up. That's first. And for giving up, our intellect first have to see it this way, that these are not correct values at all. These will not be accepted. It has to move away from acceptance. It has to reject such things first. So for giving up such things, the false values which are in us, the first thing which is important is our mind, our intellect should get the capability to reject them, that these are not right. How will you reject them? You have to know that these are not right. It, rather than justifying those kind of false values, I should give up that habit of justifying those false values first and understand that these are not correct at all. And I need to make an effort to cultivate correct values in life. If and according to those values, if a seeker is able to walk through them, is able to lead his life through them, and maybe they may take time, but these values will definitely become the correct values. If a seeker tries to work upon those values, will definitely become a facilitating factor for the seeker to walk the path of his goal, will definitely help him lead towards his goal. All false values we must assess in us first, and for assessing them, I told you a few minutes before that the support of a scripture and guru is utmost important. I keep telling this in my group also, that one of the thing which is definitely a big factor, which has been a destructive part of our own culture, or something which we have missed in our culture now recently, is the absence of gurus in our life. And since people stopped going to them, those gurus, they are intellectual people. Well, those brahmins and those people who used to teach, they are all intellectual people. They have the ability to do research and other things, so they have all gone and taken up big positions in the society and all. Why? Because we never came to support them. We never ever wanted to actually give anything to them. So everybody has a life to lead, so they also need things in their life, and if they are capable, they will go out and or gain things from on their own. So that's one thing which has happened. Because of that, our connection with our scriptures is broken, because guru used to be the connect between us and the scriptures, to teach the scriptures to us. That connection is broken. Because of that, we are where we are actually. Bhagwan, and while describing the kind of firmness of intellect, the drid prajna which Bhagwan is talking about, he had presented three things in front of us. The first thing which Bhagwan said is, for a seeker, or having lot of desires is not something which is considered good. So, as the first property of a man of realization, Bhagwan said in the 55th verse, what? Prajahati sarvan kaman. First property of a man of realization, Bhagwan said, the one who crosses over all kinds of desires which we can think of in this world and afterworld, so to say. Sarvan kaman, all kinds of desires which could be achieved here and afterlife also. That is the first property which Bhagwan gave about a man of realization. Then, which means what? Technically, what means what? For a seeker, what should be the effort of a seeker? What should be the direction of effort of a seeker? The first thing is that a seeker, once you become a seeker, once you have the goal of achieving the supreme, once you have the goal of achieving God, the first thing which you need to do is you must reduce the span of your desire. I'm just saying one thing, I'm marking my words here. I'm not saying eliminating here. Eliminating is an end thing which will reach, but first you have to start from reducing the span of desire, reducing the quantity of desire. The first thing is that is what Bhagwan gave us as a first goal. First goal presented to us is that as a seeker, we must make an effort to actually reduce our list of desires, reduce our number of desires. The second thing which Bhagwan said is that we must look in us if the adverse situations impact us quite adversely, the adverse situation and shakes us quite badly, and good things which come in our life, the things which give us happiness, as if it gives rise to the thought of hankering over it, that is the second thing a seeker must try to save himself or herself from. For that, Bhagwan said that first thing is that seeker should make an effort to come out of the situation. Okay, first he should make an effort to come out of the situation. When he makes an effort to come out of the situation, the first thing the seeker will face is face is a failure. That won't be able to come out. Why? Because that situation has arisen in the life of a seeker as part of his prarabdha, as part of his own karma phala. So rather than making an effort to, of course, make an effort to come out of the situation, before even doing that, the first thing which a seeker must take refuge in is something called the developed capability of courage. Courage is something which we must keep, must keep. I'm just giving you one example, again coming in from Olympics. There are many sports I've seen, people, while especially the people who are sprinters and all athletics, the one who run and win the race and all, there are people who have seen that in between there is they slip or something like that, but those who even in that adverse situation had not lost the courage, had got the capability to regather his courage, to come back and make a full attempt. There are situations when even after facing such adversity, people have won races also. So that's why, rather than fighting with the situation, and of course make an effort to come out, but before that, first take refuge in courage, that which you have to work towards. Develop courage in you and take refuge in that, to just let you pass through some time and then make you sit back relaxingly and think over the whole situation to plan out how to come out of it. And it can and be in many different ways. So Bhagwan says the thing which is most respected, the thing which is worthy of being respect, the thing which we must develop and cultivate is what Bhagwan has brought out in many verses in this chapter. samatvam. And he said samatvam yoga uchyate also. He used the word samadukha sukham dhiram. He used the word dhiram. I'll call that person courageous person who is able to maintain equanimity during dukkha and sukha both. So amrutatvaya kalpate. He said that, such a person is fit for gaining immortality. Amrutatvaya means immortality. Such person is fit for or spiritual evolution. Such person is fit for gaining that at ultimate goal of spirituality, who is able to develop this attitude of maintaining equanimity during in dukkha and sukha, because dukkha and sukha will come what I told you. Even a spiritual person, with people with spiritual knowledge also, spiritual knowledge is not a cause to change situations around us. I told you one thing in the last session very, very elaborately when I took the last verse. Why I spent so much time on that verse is to tell you certain secrets of this worldly life, tell you certain secrets of this creation. Don't expect spirituality to help you change the situation. Spirituality will help you build the stamina of your internal equipment to help you move through the situations, help you tackle the situations, and help you in such a way that situations don't affect you too much. Rather, you are able to come over the situation and let situation do its job, and you are able to do your own job. So that's the thing what spirituality is all about. So Bhagwan says is both udveg and spriha, and both of them are not something in which are worthy of respect at all, not something to be looked up to at all. And in scripture, according to the scriptures, it is said that Bhagwan is saying through these verses that according to our scriptures, in different situations which come in our life, both happy and adverse, the most respectable thing in which we can carve out in us is called the equanimity of intellect. If we are able to carve out an intellect which is equanimous in both these cases, that is what is described. Such kind of a person who is able to carve out such an intellect is the one who our scripture declares as a hero in this whole creation. Mahanayak, they are the Mahanayak. They are the people who are worthy to be respected as heroes. Even in Ramcharit Manas also, Goswami Tulsidas ji brings out this factor very beautifully, that in Ramji's life, if there is a verse which comes in Ayodhya Kand in the second portion, there is a shloka which comes there about Bhagwan Ram, where Goswami Tulsidas ji describes Bhagwan Ram's this particular quality, and he says in that at verse there, that shloka there, प्रसन्नताम यान गताभिषेकतस्तथा न ममले वनवास दुःखतः. That's what the property of Bhagwan Ram, Goswami Tulsidas ji is describing, and he further describes in that verse. He says that prasannatam yana gatabhishekatas na mamale vanvasa dukkhatah mukham bojashri raghunandanasya me sadastu sa manjula mangala pradam. He says, what to talk about Bhagwan Ramji. You see Bhagwan Ramji's life, and I must say and bring out here, in any avatara you see, any incarnation of Bhagwan you see as described in our Puranas, it is loud and clear. Every Purana declares through, all the stories which come on in our Puranas, is that life is full of positive and negative situations. Life is full of favorable and unfavorable situations. And in this verse which Goswami Tulsidas ji brought out in Ramcharit Manas about Bhagwan Ramji, he says prasannatam. You see, there is no happiness on Ramji's face when it is his coronation is declared. See, if you really read Ramayana the way it is to be read, Ramji is I can't even say anything about that. Why his avatar is Maryada Purushottam? Because through life, Bhagwan has shown what life gives you is something, but how you act towards it is completely your choice. Situations never force you to act in a certain way. That is what it comes over there. So in Bhagwan Ramji's life, you saw that which I just said in this particular verse. Prasannatam yana gata abhishekatas. When the coronation was declared of Bhagwan Sri Ram, that tomorrow you are going to be coronated as the king of Ayodhya, it's not that Bhagwan Ram was dancing in happiness and declaring to everyone that, you see, I'm getting coronated. He never went for a party or celebration because of that announcement. And the next moment, what happened? Before even the coronation could be there, at the next moment itself, he was called and told, or rather given a verdict that forget about the coronation. You are sent to exile for 14 years. Now just see, had he been happy and celebrative over that announcement of coronation, you see how devastating it would have been when the announcement of sending him to the exile was declared. Now let's see what Goswami Tulsidas ji brought out here. Na mamale vanavasa dukkataha. Bhagwan Ramji's facial expression was complete equanimity when the coronation was declared at that time also, and also when the decision of sending him to exile was also declared. Bhagwan Ramji's face was the ever smiling face. That is the beauty of Lord Rama. That is the beauty of Bhagwan Rama. And Goswami Tulsidas ji says, this is a dhyana shloka of that Ayodhya Kand's and second Khanda. He says, Mukham Bujashri Raghunandanasya me Sadastu sa Manjula Mangala Pradham. If somebody can remember that state of that expression, the expressive face of Bhagwan Rama, which is described in this way, Prasannatam Amyana Gata Vishekatastata, that facial expression, that face, if somebody can remember or in his dhyana, in his prayer, trust me, that is something which is Manjula Mangala Pradam Sadastu Yasa. That is going to spread auspiciousness in the life of such a person who can think about that face of Bhagwan Rama when these two declarations were given to him. So that is what Goswami Tulsidas ji also bring out, that when these adverse situation, when the favorable situation also came into the life of Bhagwan Rama, and the unfavorable situation also came into the life of Bhagwan Rama, his intellect was not disturbed. It was not completely agitated. It was not, here and there running around on trying to find something, some source to actually set that off. Both the things, Bhagwan Ram's was a smiling face when even the coronation was declared also. At that time he was not hankering over that situation, and when the exile was declared also, his mind was never ever disturbed, was never ever got dirtied by anything, any kind of feeling or emotion at all. That's why through these verses Bhagwan is saying equanimity is something which is definitely worth praising, is definitely worth respecting, is definitely something which we must all look up to, and we must all, even and though may not be immediate, but we must have that in our intellect, that we must work towards bringing in that quality in us, developing that quality in us. That is actually the field of effort for us. It is a sadhana, is the kshetra, sadhana kshetra. It means it is the field of effort for all of us. These values must arise in our heart, in our intellect, anudvigna manaha and vigata spriha. The third quality where I left the last session and I elaborately expounded, I'm going to take in more detail today, is the third quality called anabhisneha. And in the last session, I tried to explain you using Srimad Bhagavat also, that in Srimad Bhagavat, Srimad Bhagavatam, so to say, remember, for many of you who don't know, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is different from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a smriti. It is a teaching given by Bhagwan Krishna to Arjun as a student, and in the middle of the war field, it is full of self knowledge. It is full of spiritual knowledge, which we all must look towards adapting in our life. Whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is actually one of the 18 Puranas in Sanatan Dharma. And Puranas, the style is different, even though the messages of self-knowledge and spiritual development and everything, but it caters to a different kind of audience also. Actually, it caters to all kind of audience, Purana. The way it is explained in Purana is in the form of stories. So it starts with Mahabharata in the beginning, what happened after war, all those things are given. Then 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is complete. It's Sri Krishna's life, from childhood, from his birth till Bhagwan and was in here, until he decided to wind up his incarnation here in this world, wind up his visible form in this world, and go back into the same formless way. So that is entirely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto is where I brought out those things which I told you in the last session. Gopis of Vrindavan talk about 4 kinds of love, which is where I left in the last session. And I told you, you must hear it very, very carefully, not to misunderstand this at all, because many times this misunderstanding creeps up in the mind of we normal people about our saints and sages, and also supreme consciousness, Bhagwan. Bhagwan does not work the way we have understood him today. And that is why we all must make an effort to gain spiritual knowledge, so that we can understand Bhagwan also correctly. Many times what happens with us is, we get into devotion of God, and the moment something hits us, some adverse situation hits us, Gurudev used to say this very beautifully, that the first thing which gets thrown out of our window of our house is God's idol only, because we have not understood God correctly. And even this word, which is very popular these days, I don't know, it's become like a statement which many people try to give it as a credit to them or be proud about it, is atheist. Actually, this word atheist is also a very strange word. Atheist means what? Atheist means you do not accept the understanding of God which you have today. And trust me, that understanding is not correct. So you don't trust that God whom you have understood today, which technically means what? You do not believe the God the way you have understood. But the biggest factor which you don't understand now in this statement itself is, first of all, your concept or your understanding of God itself is incorrect. You've not understood God only correctly. And that misunderstanding which you have, you glorify it and say that, I don't believe God. Actually, when you say I don't believe God, trust me, I'm telling you, to say that also, you need to have the power of God within you to say that also. An atheist can also not say he's an atheist unless and until the power of God exists within that person. Without the power of God, not even a leaf can move in this whole creation. Then what to talk about you declaring something that you don't believe in God? The first thing when you say you don't believe in God, you must introspect is what is your understanding of God first. Go to a guru who has understood God, who has understood spirituality. Go to a guru and clarify your doubt, correct your understanding first. Actually, trust me, even if you understand God or you don't understand God, there is nothing going to go wrong for God at all. It doesn't matter to him at all. You understand, it's good for you. You don't understand, it's bad for you. So it is better for us to correct that understanding. So we know many times we misunderstand God also, we misunderstand sages also. Coming back to what Gopi said, I'm just repeating that and then I'll continue from there. Gopi said there are 4 kinds of lovers which I brought out in the last session. The first kind of lovers which Gopis brought out, the first kind of lovers are those who love those who love them. So their love is in return for a love. So once somebody loves them, they will also love them back. That's the first kind of love. And they said that's not exactly love. That's actually a business. That's actually an exchange. It's an exchange program. You're exchanging love for love. And trust me, the most common form of love in this world is that only. So anyway, I'll go further then and I'll explain you what further they said. The second kind of love which gopis talk about is those lovers who love those who don't love them also. Okay, trust me, I'm just saying it again here. Such people is not that those who love them, they don't love them. They love those also who don't love them. Okay, so that's the second category of lover which gopis bring out. The third kind of lover, which are the most selfish ones, and which is a very low kind of low level of people, the lowest level of people are those who don't even give love in exchange of love also, who don't even love them, who love of those people also, they don't even give them in love in return also. Such people are the third category. Means very selfish, they only love themselves, they don't love anyone else. Even if you give love to them also, they will not give it back to you. That's the third kind of people. There are many such people also. The fourth kind of people which Bhagwan spoke about is those who do not love anyone. This is the discussion where I left the last session. I'm continuing from here to complete this verse now. So Bhagwan says, the first category of lover I told you it's a common love which is there in this world. And I told you one more thing in the last session. And this first kind of love means that those people who love in return or in exchange of love, that kind of a love is definitely something which we all desire. Love is something which we all desire. That's the first basic thing you need to remember. We all desire love in our life. That's a basic thing, basic need of everyone. Everyone wants that I should be loved, I should be respected, I should be heard. Isn't that something which everyone requires? I should be supported when I need support. I should have someone who I can fall back when I need. And trust me, when I'm saying this, 2 important days have gone by just by. One is Pujya Gurudev's Samadhi Divas went by on the 3rd of August. That day, our Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji attained Samadhi. It is, organized, that occasion is organized in Chinmay Mission as Aradhana Divas. Because we are all here, where I'm able to teach you all because he was the one who made that effort to come up with a mission, create a mission, because of which I could go and study and come out to you. So in whole Chinmay Mission, and we all, even those who are in Chinmay Mission also, who are not there currently in Chinmay Mission also, whoever have been associated with Pujya Gurudev, who have been associated with Pujya Gurudev in person or otherwise also, or to Chinmay Mission, for all of them, this day is very important as Aradhana Divas. Aradhana Divas means the Samadhi day of Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, which was August 3rd. The second thing which has also gone by, why I brought it up is, yesterday was Friendship Day, which is celebrated in the world. The first Sunday of August is celebrated in the world as Friendship Day. So I'm talking about here about love only, which is also one of the factors us behind friendship also. Without love, you can't be a friend. So that's a basic thing which we all demand in life. So what I'm talking about, the first category of love is definitely something in which makes us life move on, which actually help us lead our life, but we cannot get fulfillment from that kind of a love. You cannot get fulfillment from that love. Definitely that's something which will continue your life, if continue your journey of life, but that love cannot be eternally fulfilling for you. The second category of love is of suhrud, well wishers. Those people who love those also who don't love them back. And the example I gave you in the last session was mother, our father, our guru, all saints and sages. Saints and sages, when I say genuine saints and sages in the society around, all Mahapurush and Mahatmas which we see around in the society, they all fall under this particular category of the third people. They will give them and give love to those also who don't love them back, because their purpose is what they're well wisher for everyone. They're well wisher for those people who they love. Okay. Now, I'm not saying everyone, those people who are around them. For mother and father, it will be for their own kid. Even if the kids love them also or not, mother and father's love will always be there for the kids. I'm talking about normal mother and father. There are exceptional cases also, lower cases also. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about normal cases and exceptional parents also. There are far below exceptionally low parents also there. I'm not talking about that. Let's not even bring that into discussion. But I'm talking about normal and above normal parents, and they will definitely give love to their kids, even if they get love from the kid also or not. Guru also is the same thing, and saints and sages is also there. The third category of people are those who don't even give love to those who love them. They are actually speaking, they are completely loser people. They are those people who are ungrateful people. They are completely ungrateful. They don't even give love in return also. They don't even have the capability to give love in return. They don't even have the willingness to give love in return also. They only love themselves. These kind of people are very, very low level, lower kind of beings. Lower kind of beings, I'm purposely saying lower level of human beings. The lowest level of human beings are these kind of people. The fourth category which I spoke about was of the supreme consciousness, those who don't love anyone. Now, when I say they don't love anyone, please don't misunderstand me there that they do not have love at all. That's not what I meant. When I say the word that they don't love anyone, that means they do not have any special love for anyone. Okay, they don't have attachment based love for anyone. And the first one for that particular love is actually supreme consciousness, our Bhagwan and our God we call. He falls under that category. And in the same category, Bhagwan has also kept gurus and mahatmas also into that category, realized master also into that category. Why? And for them only Bhagwan is saying anabhisneha. I'm coming to that point there. Why they don't love anyone? Because they want to do good for everyone. They want everyone should be benefited. They want everyone should be able to come up and grow in their life. Their effort is very, very clear. They want good, they desire good for everyone. Even if somebody loves them also or not, it doesn't matter to them. It makes no wee bit difference to them, because they want good for everyone. And the example I gave you in the last session was Bhagwan. He came near gopis also because of that, and he went far from the gopis also out of love for them. So he made gopis near him also out of love, and he made them far also out of love for them, out of good for them. God comes near us, hides from us, as all these leelas Bhagwan do only because he wants us to grow in life. He wants good for us. It doesn't matter, or whether we give credit to Bhagwan also or not, but if he decides to do something for us, he will definitely do for us. I can give you, from by God's grace, God has been so grateful that I came in association with so many Mahatmas in my life. I have read, heard, seen, met so many realized saints in my life, that this thing I can speak out of my own experience by watching them. I'm just bringing out directly to you here how much love we have got from them. Only because of their love, I am able to sit here and talk to you and teach you these things, or make you understand these things, or discuss these things with you. What to teach? I'm not there to teach and all, to help you understand and discuss these things of scriptures with you. It's only because of the grace and blessings of them. The entire Guru Parampara, Guru Purnima went by, last week. Guru Purnima went by and we celebrated Guru Purnima also. It is only the grace and blessings of the entire Guru Parampara, along with Bhagwan Krishna, Bhagwan Shiva, Mother, Mother Shakti, and whichever form I can call them, supreme consciousness, actually I would use the word. It is only because of their grace and blessings that we are able to discuss these points of scriptures. We are able to discuss or explore the depth of the scriptures the way scriptures want to tell us. And in this category, Bhagwan has kept saints also in this thing, and that's why he said that Bhagwan does all these leela with us, with gopis also he does. Why? Because his objective is very clear. He wants to make an effort to purify the intellect of ours. Chitta ka shodhan. Why purify the intellect of us? So that we are able to make it subtle enough to grasp the subtle understanding of this supreme creation or the ultimate truth. In this fourth category, Bhagwan has placed those realized saints also, those saints who are sitting there and reflecting upon the self, reveling on the self. In those people also, Bhagwan has put them into this category. They are always, such saints are also, you will see them, they will always be indifferent. Always be indifferent. Trust me, I'm telling you, as an example, it makes no difference to them whether people understand them, people misunderstand them. It makes no difference to them. Why? Because they are completely indifferent to that. But if they have to do good for someone, they will definitely do it. Even for those who don't understand them also, this Mahatma, this man of realization, and will definitely do good for them. And also the second thing which does not matter to a man of realization is, if people are around him also, it doesn't matter. If people are not there around him also, it doesn't matter. That doesn't take any span of attention for this man of realization at all. Even though this man of realization is indifferent towards everything, still he is what? Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. He is always has this thought, always will do things which will do good for Sarva Bhuta Hita, which will do good for, which will be good for the entire span of this creation. Every being in this creation. And it will be arising out of what? One thing within a saint, and that is his deep level of compassion. Even though a saint, a man of realization, is indifferent towards people, things, and situations around him, but the one thing which will be deep down in such a man of realization is compassion. Trust me, compassion is that quality of supreme consciousness which starts to reflect from a man of realization because that man of realization has started to reside in that supreme consciousness. So this quality of the supreme consciousness start to emanate out of the man of realization and starts to spread around in the world wherever that man of realization stays. I can give you many examples to talk about. Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, I just spoke about his Samadhi Divas, his Aradhana Divas. When he was around, trust me, there used to be huge crowd of people coming to meet him. And he used to be with everyone at the same time. So many people used to be there at the same time. The same thing I can speak about Pujya Maharashtra Swami Akhandanandji also. How many people who met them, they say the saint belonged to us. Everyone feels that saint belonged to us. He is personal to us. Everyone who was devoted to him used to think like that. The same thing goes for Pujya Guruji Swami Subodhanandji also. Oh, Pujya Guruji Swami Subodhanandji, I've seen when he used to sit with people around him, there used to be laughter, jokes and things, discussion going around on wide variety of topics in the world. And everyone sitting there used to get some portion of bliss from him. And they used to walk away, sitting late in the night also, they used to walk away so blissful. What should I tell you? That experience is completely different altogether. So I'm telling you honestly, I keep telling this in my group also, WhatsApp group also, to the listeners of my podcast also. If we are able to actually meet a saint in life, we must not lose that opportunity. Trust me, it goes a very, very far way in gaining abundance in the self knowledge, in the spiritual knowledge. So that's what Bhagwan is trying to bring here, that this man of realization is full of compassion. And such a thing which Bhagwan talks about is that they are completely free from all kind of favoritism and biases. They are completely free from any kind of bias. Out of compassion only, they will give love to everyone. And remember one thing, they will give love, but they will not give abhisneha. Abhisneha means, I described it last time to you, when a love is filled with attachment. An attachment bound love is called abhisneha. It binds us. The one who's giving love also, the attachment binds us. It puts us in the prison and of that thing towards which we have love. Actually, abhisneha's meaning is actually attachment. The love which is filled with attachment is what is defined by the word abhisneha. Then anabhisneha means love which is free from attachment is called anabhisneha. That's how you should understand this particular verse. Sarvat, and remember, Bhagwan used one word also, sarvatra, means towards everything he is anabhisneha. He has got no attachment towards anything in this whole creation. Usually we'll see a man's nature is such, our actually nature is such, that we want that everyone should love me. Everyone should love me more. This is a kind of feeling which we are all actually having in a normal sense. Every man wants that, I should be loved by everyone and everyone should love me more. And then what happens? Then from this what emanates is our thought process starts to become like filled with raga. Raga means attachment again. And then this thought process will be what will emanate out of that thought of that I should be loved excuse me, that I should be loved by everyone and I should get most of the love. Then another thought which comes out of that is of attachment, and also we would want to hold on to such things, objects, being, people or whatever. Such a love you will never get from a saint. This is why I wanted to bring out here. You will never get such a love from a saint that he should love me only and he should love me more than anyone else. Such kind of a love, sorry, you will not get it from a saint at all. Like, just giving you an example, a man of realization is like Ganga ji, river Ganga, Mother Ganges. Why I brought out Mother Ganges here? Why a man of realization is like Mother Ganges? Mother Ganges will purify everyone. She will become the cause of purifying everyone who takes a dip in her, who takes a holy dip in her, who bathes in Mother Ganges, who takes a holy dip in her. That's what I meant. If somebody expects or keeps an expectation that Mother Ganges should only become the cause of purifying me and should only become the cause of giving bliss to me, should only become cause of that, then trust me, such kind of expectations, such kind of thoughts will never be fulfilled in the totality of this creation, in the Virat. In this totality, such kind of expectations will never be fulfilled. You know, a man of realization, you see, with man of realization also I see many people will, because of this expectation that the saint should only be mine, saint should only love me, saint should be beneficial only to me, the kind of people who have such expectations, they fall into a bigger problem of bigger kind of a intellectual thing called raga and dvesha. They fall into attachments and hatreds. This is another thing which they will get stuck into. They start to respect or disrespect among themselves only, among the devotees only. They will start doing that. I've heard many examples with Puja Gurudev's case also. And I've given one or two examples in the podcast itself, that there have been many such devotees. There's someone who was pressing the feet of Puja Gurudev, and some other devotee was pressing the other feet of Puja Gurudev, and one said, oh, so that means if this person is doing better, I will do more. In the event of that competitive nature of doing that, they pressed Gurudev's feet so much that it started paining to him. You see, are you going to get a blessing from it, or are you going to get the impact of the pain which you have inflicted on that saint? So these kind of things we must avoid. And this is also seen that such people who engage in such kind of acts, they are the only one who suffer. Why? They become devoid of the love of a saint, of God also, like that. Why? Because such kind of expectations will not be fulfilled there in that place at all. Rather, whatever love that saint had for such a person, this person will be devoid of that also. Why? Because that closeness which used to be established will never be established because of such kind of a thought process, such kind of a nature. If supreme consciousness is sarva hitkari means is someone who wants good, who want to do good for everyone, then tell me something. How can one and anyone amongst us consider that supreme consciousness as our own property? That is something which is a it's a completely wrong desire. Actually, it's something which is a very low kind of a desire. It's something which is a papa, which is a sinful desire actually. And what happens with abhisneha? With abhisneha, our life actually, our love becomes narrow. Because our love becomes narrow, that becomes a cause for, or a feeling in us called hatred for some and attachment for some others. If a saint or a man of realization and does not love anyone in specific, how do we get at blessings from such a saint? That's the point which I wanted to bring out, which I left in the last session, and I'm bringing it up in detail here right now. Actually, supreme consciousness and a man of realization or a guru is like a reflecting mirror. The love we get from Supreme Consciousness or a Guru or a man of realization is actually the exponential return of what we give to them. So, when I say reflecting means what? They are like a reflecting mirror. Reflecting mirror means when you stand in front of a mirror, how you are, that is what the mirror will reflect back to you, right? If you dress up and go, the mirror will also reflect a dressed up you, a decked up you, a decorated you, right? In the same way, so much love and affection and so much willingness we have towards a saint, so much is, in an exponential factor to the power of to the power of whatever, we get that in return from them. It's not that the saint is giving that to us specifically or having a special love. It is our love towards them which is coming back to us in an exponential manner. That is what happens with a saint. That is the reason why, because a man of realization has already placed himself in the supreme consciousness, the self, the Bhagwan, and his way of act is exactly like Bhagwan himself. So, like supreme consciousness, the more we love God, the more grace and blessings in an exponential manner starts to fall on us. I'm telling you honestly, this path you will have to realize it on your own. Walk the path of devotion towards God, or grow in love and devotion towards God. Trust me, you will see a big difference in your life. Big difference. I don't want to tell you and limit that thing. I cannot even tell you how many wonders that does to you. God is great. Great means, great is a very small word in English to actually describe. There is nothing greatest than supreme consciousness or Bhagwan or God or a realized master or a guru. You don't know what you get when you give. But trust me, why I said reflecting, for reflection also you have to first go and stand there. It's not that without you standing there it will reflect. I keep on telling this is through my podcast also. In the world also, worldly transaction also, we must see this, that to get something we have to give first. In spiritual world also, a guru, a saint may not ask you for it. God may not ask you for anything. But it is through your faith and through your love that ability comes on you, that thought comes in you, that willingness comes in you to give. And trust me, by giving it to God, Guru, or a realized saint, I've never heard in this whole gamut of creation that somebody has remained poor or somebody has become poor. It's never happened. You have to try it yourself. This is not something I can verbally explain you, but trust me, I'm telling you from my own experience, this is what the truth is, and that is what Anabhisneha means here. Puja Gurudev, our Puja Guruji Swami Subodhananji used to say, he used to serve Puja Gurudev, and Puja Gurudev was here before his Samadhi also. He used to say that, I have seen Puja Gurudev loving in millions of people at the same time. And with everybody in one session itself is present with everyone. And trust me, let me tell you one more thing I told you about Srimad Bhagavat. That is the secret of Bhagwan Krishna's Ras Leela also. Bhagwan is not limited. That is our poor level of understanding, that we think that Ras Leela is, something that Puja Gurudev also used to say, Ras Leela is not a dance of the blue boy of Vrindavan with many, verily dressed females in Vrindavan. That's a very foolish and stupid way to understand Ras Leela. Ras Leela is actually the Anabhisneha of Bhagwan, the reflection of our love towards Bhagwan exponentially returned to us. That is what Ras Leela is all about. That is why in the description of Ras Leela, see, many people explain it many ways. I'm not even bothered about it. I don't even consider that also. But the correct way of understanding Ras Leela is, actually, that is why in the description of Ras Leela it is said, there was one Bhagwan Krishna with every gopi independently. And that is what the exponential return of love, actually our love towards God is. And that is how supreme consciousness gives back to you when you have the ability to give. You trust me, I'm telling you, I've seen many people with Puja Guruji Swami Tejomayananji also. Whenever we sit with him, it's a completely different experience altogether. It is definitely cannot be described as within the world at all. Those few minutes or moments we sit with him, when I used to sit with Puja Swami Subodhananji, Puja Guruji Swami Subodhananji also, it never used to be in the time, the concept of time used to be different. By the time we look into our watch, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours have gone by. We don't even know where it has gone. The concept of time changes. It is such a blissful experience in itself. Just, what do you call that? Just entering that aura of consciousness which is spread by a guru, which is spread around him, the aura of consciousness which is always walking around a guru, which is always illuminating from that guru, it is worth an experience in itself. Whenever I, even today, I go and sit with Puja Guruji Swami Tejomayananji also, it is a different experience altogether. He, at times we get only side glance from him, but that side glance is like worth life giving for us. When I used to sit with Puja Guruji Swami Subodhananji also, many a times I've got special love, care from him. I also used to think, I have done nothing in my life to actually gain that. It's only his grace and blessing which falls on us. That's something which we must experience ourselves. It is not something which can be described. The difficulty actually is the actual form of love nobody understands. The common people don't understand the actual definition of love. Kabir Das ji also says, ढाई आखर प्यार का जो समझे वो विद्वान होए. It means it's just a 2.5 letter word called pyar and actually Hindi. Those who can understand it, they are actually called vidwan. Vidwan means those people who are actually intellectual, because it's just a 2.5 letter word, but it has got very, 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 very deep meaning. Our Gurudev, it is said that, I just described you that whenever he used to sit with people, when people used to get up, they used to see that, why are we even getting up? I hope we could have got more time with Gurudev. But then, keeping his comfort in mind, people used to get up and go also. But remember, when a guru's love, like I described you, or even the Raslila also, that love which is we get from our guru, our God, our supreme consciousness, it is an undivided love. It is a love which is not disturbed by anything, with nobody's intervention in that love. Remember one thing, a jnani is not a dry person at all. Don't ever consider that. Jnani is a man of realization, is not a dry person. He is rather full of love in its actual form, love in its actual essence. A jnani, a man of realization, is full of love, but is free from attachment. And one important thing is, those who are free from attachment only, their love only is the correct form of love. The moment we attach, because it is free from attachment, and that is the actual true form of love, and because it is free from attachment, that is why it is available for everyone. Those who have attachment, their love becomes narrow. Their love will be available for only those towards whom they have attachment, and that too also may not be there for everyone towards who are attached to him, also may not be there for everyone. A man of realization is free. He is free from all kind of association, is asanga. In our first sight, it may seem that he is rude, he is completely indifferent, but actually speaking, that free from association or free from attachment is actually the nourishing factor of love. That is what will actually let the flow of love be, completely obstacle free. There will be free flowing love. Well, if a love is actually free from attachment, because he is free from attachment, that is why the love of a man of realization is called sarvatra anabhisneha. This is possible only when a man starts to free himself from the happiness derived, or the ananda, or the bliss derived from anything or anyone in this whole creation. When the dependency on happiness or bliss coming from anyone and anything in this creation is gone away, and that is when, and we can describe that thing, that person has become anabhisneha. Attachment is there till that time we have dependence on the happiness or bliss coming from some source or object or people. Those people who are reveling in the bliss of the self, in the Atmanand, because they are not dependent on any external source of happiness and bliss, that is why they are able to remain free from attachment. They are so much wealthy that, after reveling in that self themselves, enjoying that bliss of the self, they have so much love to distribute in the world. Those are the people who can actually love millions of people together. Those people who have themselves got an ocean of bliss within themselves. Those are the people who can actually spread love in the world. Those are the people who can actually love everyone in the world. Another aspect of love which I'll bring out to you is, love is something which is important for all of us. Okay, I told you it's a basic need of all of us. Why it is important? Because love is actually the true nature of the Supreme Consciousness. It's a true quality of the Supreme Consciousness. In this world, if love is not there, trust me, this world will not be worthy of living also. That's an important factor which we need to understand. Love is something which once a person gets, that's the person who gets also gains the happiness and bliss, and the one who gives also gains bliss, experiences bliss. Love is something which one who gets also experience bliss, and the one who gives also experiences bliss. Remember one thing, love will make us do sacrifice. Love will make us do service. Love is something which will definitely lead us to service also, will lead us to sacrifice also. It will give us the power also to give up or sacrifice something. Love is actually the essence of this world. If I really see at the subtlest level, if I really see at the base level, if I go to look at the base level of the love, if I see at the deep level of the love, whatever actually is expressed out of our five senses, whatever is expressed out of our senses is actually, that is nothing but a small form of bliss of our self only. The bliss of our self, when is expressed through our senses, that is what in externally, that expression in the world we call it as love. Okay, now I'm just giving you certain examples for you to see. When that love is expressed out of our eyes or oozes out of our eyes, the person who looks at it says that, you see, his eyes are filled with love, and we can experience it ourselves. When that love expresses out of our words. So the people who listen to him says, he speaks so sweet, it's so impressive to listen to him. It's so impressive to listen to her. I feel so excited to listen to him. You see, there are many people who listen to Vaktas and all. Why? Because they are experiencing that bliss of the self being expressed there, right? So when it expresses from our words, expresses from our sound, we say that it's a very sweet thing to actually experience. Actually, what is expressing from that sweet sound is nothing but the love of the self expressed through words, right? When we listen to something with deep love and interest, trust me, in listening also there is an experience of bliss. And I told you, when I used to listen to Puja Guruji, even I listen to him today also, that that kind of experience which comes out of that listening is completely different altogether. In what actually, whatever is expressed, whatever expression of love happens through our senses, is actually nothing but the expression of the bliss of our self only. That is the expression of knowledge of the self only, knowledge which is there in the self only. That is the expression of the existence principle of our self. So whatever expresses from our senses are three things, three nature of the self: Sat, Chit, and Anand. Okay. Sat means the existence principle, that we exist. That existence principle expresses through our expression through our senses, because only a person who's living can express, right? A dead person can't express. The second thing which expresses through our senses is actually the consciousness, the knowledge part, the consciousness of the self expresses through our actually senses. The third thing which expresses through our senses is the bliss of the self, and the self is of the nature of this is existence, consciousness, and bliss, Sat, Chit, and Anand. In the same way, the expression of that bliss factor or the bliss nature of the self expressing through our senses is what externally people say and react to it, saying that what love this person has got. That's how the expression comes out. Remember, there is the other side also. We need to remember, when somebody looks at someone eyes filled with lust also, the other side people, even if you have some amount of consciousness in you, you have some amount of purity in you, you can realize that this person's vision towards you is not correct. This bliss of self, this is available for everyone. Why? Because the self is all pervading and is the self of all. Love can be limited to a place also, and this is actually one of the shortcoming of love. Limited to a place means ekadeshiya, means limited to a place, limited to an object, limited to a person. Yes, that is possible, that when love becomes limited to a place, limited to a person, limited to an objective, that is what actually limits the love or the supreme love of God. When the love is expressed towards one person or few people, when it is expressed in front of few people, or it is expressed at a particular place, and remember, when that expression happens, if it is expressed in front of few people, that means it is devoid of expression in front of other people, right? Those who it has been expressed, they only can and view it, others can't, right? When it is expressed at one particular place, that means it is devoid from other places, devoid of expression from other places, right? That makes actually love limited in nature, and that is not the pure form of love at all. Attachment, the love which is filled with attachment, and definitely have the aspect of love in it, but it will always be limited because it will always flow towards a particular object or a particular person. The love which is the true nature of the self, that cannot be limited at all. That cannot be, or narrow at all. That has to be wide and expansive in its nature. That is why the self is called as all pervasive. All pervasive means he is available for everyone. And just as I was mentioning the statement of atheists there, God is available for everyone. Your belief, you believing it or not believing, has got no wee bit difference on the availability of God or the existence of God. Actually, by denying God, you are only denying your existence. Please remember, because he is the existence principle. So it's actually problematic for you. You are being devoid of the love of God. Why? Because you have denied the existence of him. You are dividing yourself of that particular love of God. So remember one thing, love is the true nature of supreme consciousness, that cannot be limited, that cannot be narrow. When that love becomes limited or is filled with attachment, when our love becomes limited and is filled with attachment or becomes narrow, that love actually forces us or pushes us or leads us to adharma, to sin. We'll definitely end up doing sin. It will make us do this attachment. What is going to do for us is that it will definitely push us towards uh, sinful activities, sinful act, because of our love and attachment towards certain people, certain things in life. And this kind of sin is actually nothing but the expressive form of our attachment. Because one is attached, and we have love, that love is actually going to push us to do sinful act also, for the benefit of those who we love. Also, it will push us towards doing biased behavior, biased acts. It will make us do that. Another thing which this attachment will make us do is, it will also become one of the factor to make us not to do our duty or lose the ability to do our duty, or we will actually stop doing. It will also lead us to stop doing our duty. It will force us drop our duties also. That is a very, very low kind of a low form of love, and that is what is expressed by the word abhisneha. This is something which is definitely not good for a seeker, especially if the seeker has a goal in mind to make his intellect firm. Then this kind of a thing is something which this seeker must escape from, must avoid in one's life. One should definitely desire to give in love in life. And remember, when we give love, I just told you, when we give love, that is becomes one of the reason for us to get also. In any form, if we give, we'll get from anywhere. If that person whom we are giving is not giving, we'll get from somewhere else also. But giving is the, if you give, you will get, that's for sure. There is no doubt about it. So for a sadhak, for a seeker, he must definitely have a desire to give love to everyone, because giving love becomes one of the cause of gaining bliss in the inner equipment of that seeker also. Becoming rude or living a rude life is definitely not a sadhana for anyone. A seeker has to aim to become sarva bhuta hite rata. That's his end goal. If the seeker, instead of giving love to everyone and becomes attached to something, then trust me, that attachment is definitely going to make his wisdom, his intellect, a prisoner. So anabhisneha is something which a seeker, if you are a seeker, you must work towards. And remember, your love should not be to one or two places or people or anything. It has to have a goal of sarvatra anabhisneha. The next thing which Bhagwan says is Shubha Ashubham. You see how much time I'm taking to explain this verse to you. Why? Because this verse has got this deep meaning. And we will complete this verse whatever time it takes today. I'm committed to actually do that so that I can complete this verse and move on to the next one. The next point which Bhagwan brings up is Shubha Ashubham. Remember one thing, Shubha means auspicious and Ashubham means inauspicious. In life, in everyone's life, both auspicious and inauspicious moment will come in everyone's life for that to say. Auspicious means what? Those situations or those objects which brings light in our life, which brings hope in our life, which illumines our life. And inauspicious means what? Inauspicious events or situations means what? Those things which blocks the light in our life, which makes us lose hope in life, which limits the illumination of our life. Those things are called, or which actually brings dirt into our mind, which brings impurity into our mind, because of which our fame gets reduced. Those things are called, or our fame starts to go down, or we start to attain ill fame. Those things are called ashubham or inauspicious. Both these kind of situations will arise in everybody's life. Sometimes we feel, that was a political jargon also, achhe din aayenge. So this was a political jargon also sometimes. Sometimes we feel, I'm not coming to that aspect at all. Sometimes we may feel that, auspicious moments have come in our life. But on the contrary, sometimes we also feel that, some inauspicious moments have arrived in our life. When these situations arrive in our life, the normal expression which we all have is which is what Bhagwan is negating in the in the third quarter of this verse, third and fourth quarter of this verse. The normal reaction we have when auspicious situations come in our life is Abhinandati Shubham Prapya. We will welcome them with happiness, celebration, and things and decorations and everything. We'll welcome such situations in our life. We'll celebrate, we'll party with those situations in our life. And the normal reaction when Ashubham comes or inauspicious situation comes is Dveshti Ashubham Prapya. We will start to develop hatred towards it. We will start to develop aversion towards it. So what Bhagwan is trying to elaborate in this verse is, want to bring out in this verse is, what is the level of reaction of a man of realization? Na abhinandati, na dveshti. See, this is what we have to see here. So one quality is of the Mahatma, which is Bhagwan has brought out in this verses, sarvatra anabhisneha. Then the second quality which Bhagwan has brought out is na abhinandati tat shubham prapya, na dveshti tat ashubham prapya. When inauspicious comes, he will not have aversion. The normal reactions which are normally in us, those reactions won't be there in a man of realization. These natural kind of reactions will be absent in a man of realization. When a auspicious situation comes in the life of a man of realization, this man of realization will not end up spending time in celebration, partying, or telling few people and all. And when inauspicious situations come in the life of this man of realization, he will not end up wasting his time in hatred and aversion and escapism and all those kind of things also. Why it is so? Because the state at which this man is living, the state at which this man has arrived, the state of life this man has arrived, The level of intellect of this particular man is such which is free and devoid of situations. Which Bhagwan said what? Atmani eva atmana tushta. He revels, he lives, he sits, he stands, he sleeps. Everything happens in the supreme consciousness, the self alone. Atmani eva, in the self alone, tushta. His fulfillment and his reveling happens only and only in the self. That is why effulgence, he is always illuminated. I just told you when I was talking about when I used to be with Puja Guruji and all, we used to feel a different kind of a blissful experience sitting there. There used to be a different illumination around him. That illumination cannot be explained in words. So, since this man of realization is Atmani eva Atmana Tushtaha, living in the self, spending his life in the self, sitting, walking in the self, everything is happening in the self. That's why this man of realization has got a different effulgence emanating out of him. And that effulgence or that illumination is not something which comes and goes. It is a permanent kind of an illumination. Whenever you go near him, that illumination will always be there. And that is actually what can be described as a freedom. Actual freedom is when we can become free from all kind of situations coming and going from our life. When we are able to reach such a level, that is what is actually the experience of freedom. And what is our current state right now? We are completely bound. Why our situation is called bound? Because we have actually no level of ours, no own level of ours at all. We have no level of our own at all right now. We keep wavering at levels. We have no one particular state where we are. We keep wavering between states. Sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are happy. We keep wavering between all these things throughout our life. Whatever situation and comes outside, whatever situation is outside, our mental situation also adapts to the same thing, becomes exactly like that. We are actually a prisoner of the situations arising in our life, and that is not something which is praiseworthy at all. Remember one thing, both auspicious and inauspicious situations are definitely a pair of opposites, and they are pair of opposites means they move together for everyone in the life, and for a man of realization, the only difference is this man of realization is free from experiences complete freedom from all kinds of situation, and that is what Bhagwan wants a seeker to develop in his life and keep it as a goal, that even though situations may come temporarily impacted, but the effort should be there to free the seeker from the effect of these situations coming into the life. The seeker must make an attempt that the seeker is not completely affected by the situation. The effect of the situation is very, very temporary and start becoming minuscule day by day, effort by effort, it should start becoming minuscule. His mental level should be such, if his mental level is such that it keeps wavering between the situation, it keeps toggling between situation, then will he be spending his time managing his different levels which the mind goes during situations, or will he make an effort towards making his intellect firm? His time will go in only managing his mind through the situation, because it keeps wavering here and there. It is not at a firm place at all. It is not standing, or it is not placed firmly at all. Definitely situations in life do affect, but there is another truth also, that every situation doesn't affect everyone in an equal manner. In worldly life also you see situations do affect, but in the worldly level also you see every situation affects everyone differently. Why? Because everyone's level is different. The one thing which we must practice in life is we must make an effort according to Bhagwan to raise to this level, to come to the level of maintaining equanimity in life. Equanimity is something which is worth going after, which is worth making an effort towards. Man of realization is completely free from all kind of situations. That's why Bhagwan uses the word tasya prajna pratisthita in the fourth quarter of this particular verse. That such a man who is free from situation, his prajna, his wisdom, his knowledge, I will call it completely firm, completely placed at one place. Right now, the position of a seeker is what? Ashubham dveshti, shubham abhinandati. When an inauspicious thing comes, there is aversion which comes in our mind and heart. And when good auspicious situations come, we definitely welcome them also. The quantum of welcome and the quantum of hatred may be different, but this is what a natural reaction towards the situations is. For a man of realization, there is no difference between the difference which is there between auspicious and inauspicious also loses. The difference is not there at all, because both of them become unimportant in his life. Why? Because he is na dveshti na abhinandati. When you don't give attention to those things at all, they slowly gradually start losing their importance in life. His sight, his vision, his focus is only on the self, and it is not at all on the auspicious inauspicious things at all. In this way, we must make the meaning of this, we must understand the meaning of this particular verse. For a seeker, the message is very clear. Must make an effort to understand that both auspicious and inauspicious situations will come in our life according to our prarabdha. And if you are somebody who has got love and devotion for God, consider them that God is managing it himself to send it very patiently, only that which we can bear. So a seeker must make an attempt, and that to start working towards freeing himself from these situations coming in their life. Both auspicious and inauspicious situations, a seeker should understand, that are helpful actually for us only. They are actually route for us to grow. They are tools for us to grow. That's why they should never consider it as wrong coming in the life. A seeker must make an effort to actually look for the kind of learning from those situations arriving in the life, both good, auspicious and inauspicious. He should start maintaining a practice, or start practicing something called equanimity, so that the kind of difference which is established in his life about the auspicious and inauspicious situations starts to diminish. Even if something seems non-favorable to him, he must understand that as a tool for his growth. And even if something seems favorable to him, he should also understand that also to be a tool for him. This thought should become firm in the mind of a seeker, in the intellect of a seeker, that both of these need to be accepted as a tool for my growth, as a path of my growth. If a seeker is able to think this way, then, and if he is able to maintain his mental level, intellectual level this way, then that means he started to walk the path of making his wisdom, his knowledge firm. And his prajna pratisthita has already started to walk that path. In these three verses which we just mentioned, the 55th, 56th and 57th, Bhagwan is actually trying to give the basic characteristics or the basic nature of a man of realization. The core nature of basic means the core nature, the core property of a man of realization, which is actually Atmani eva Atmana Tushta. He's the one who's actually, the core property is what? Reveling in the self. And in the last two verses, in the 55th verse, Bhagwan gave the core property of a Mahatma is what? Reveling, the nature of reveling in the self. He's reached the level of reveling in the self. He's gained fulfillment and contentment in the self. Well, continuing from there, in the last two verses, Bhagwan gave the context or the nature or the act of a Mahatma or a man of realization is the reaction of a Mahatma towards the external situations which arise in the life of him. That is what Bhagwan wanted to show from these verses, is what is this man of realization's reaction going to be when the situations arise. So in a way we can understand, and that with by this particular verse, as Bhagwan, whatever Bhagwan wanted to talk about a man of realization, he's already completed the topic. Now, from the next verse, which is 58 onwards, Bhagwan is bringing up another thought and another thing about a man of realization. And what is he wanting to bring out? What is the, what is the kind of control which is exercised by a man of realization in his life? What is the situation? What is the level of control exercised by a man of realization in his life? That is what Bhagwan is wanting to bring out in the next verse. And it means what? Control means what? Control over his senses. Senses means 5 organs of action and 5 organs of knowledge. Means what? Bhagwan is wanting to drive a message for the seeker, drive a teaching for the seeker, that control over senses is also something which a seeker must work towards. And what is the control of a jnani, of a man of realization? Bhagwan says in this next verse. I'll read the verse, take the literal meaning, but we'll see the detailed meaning in the next session. Verse number 58. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. Bhagwan, Supreme Consciousness, Bhagwan Krishna, through this verse talks about the kind of control exercised by a man of realization over his senses. What is the nature of control exercised by a man of realization? That is what Bhagwan is wanting to explain from this verse. And for explaining that, Bhagwan takes up the simile of a tortoise here. Kachap, Kurma. Bhagwan explains the nature of a tortoise here. Now, I'll say a few points before I complete the session today. We'll see the detailed meaning in the next session. In Sanatan Dharma temples, all the temples where Prana Pratishtha and all those things are done, and especially well-established temples and all, you will see that a tortoise is placed at the entrance of the temple, the inner entrance of the temple. Actually, there is a reason why the tortoise is kept there. There are a lot of messages. See, I'll tell you one thing very honestly. In Sanatan Dharma, nothing is by accident or by chance. Our rishis have been so great that everything has got a logical explanation behind it. You may not know, that's a different thing. Many people may not be able to explain, that's a different thing. But the thing about tortoise is, tortoise represents a kind of control over the senses. What does a tortoise does? You see, first of all, the first thing which I need to bring up about the tortoise is, a tortoise walks around on 2 different planes. It can survive in water also. It can survive and move around on the land also. So it's ubhayachar. It means it leads life on both the levels of planes. Plane of water also, at the level of water also, in water also, on land also. Why Bhagwan is bringing out that a Mahatma also, a man of realization also, lives on 2 planes. One plane is at the level of consciousness when he is in the samadhi and when he revels in the supreme self. And for the passage of life in this, when remaining in this body, he leads a life in this world also. He also lives in two places. So that's one of the reasons why Bhagwan brought the simile there. And why a tortoise is kept as a representation in our Sanatan Dharma temples also. Before you enter temple, you must, we all actually see, those of who does, I'm talking about them, we especially do, we actually first prostrate to the tortoise before entering the temple. Why? Actually, the prostration unto the tortoise is actually the prostration or respect towards the exercising or practicing control in our life. Only when we exercise certain controls in life, that is when we can start to gather the experience of the factor called God, who is sitting inside the temple. So a tortoise, you will see, immediately when it senses some kind of a danger, it withdraws its all limbs inside that thick shell, that shell which cannot be broken by any hard object also. It protects itself. In the same way, a man of realization, while living in the world, exercise so much caution that immediately when it sees that something is not favorable, something is not right, something is not good in the direction of moving towards the self, something is not happening so right, he immediately withdraws his senses and places them in the self in which he is reveling throughout. This much I'll say for today. Rest we will see in the next session. Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai नारायणायेति समर्पयामि श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम तत्सत्।